Okay, so I'm sitting here studying 2 Peter, and I come across verse 5, and besides this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and so on, if you've, read that. Anyway, so the word add, for some reason, popped out to me, and so I wanted to do a word study on that. And so I did, so what I do in this compact Bible is that I jump over into my journal right here, and I do a word study on it. And so I use the Blue Letter Bible app and the Webster 1828 dictionary, and I just kind of go through the word study. And the word study, this word is actually mostly translated as minister or some form of minister, and only translated as add once in the King James, because I do the KJV when I study. And so then I just go to the definition after I kind of go into the original language, and to set or put together, join or unite, and then it had augment, and I'm like, what in the world is augment? And augment is to increase, to enlarge in size or extent, to increase or swell the degree, amount, or magnitude. So we're adding to our faith, right? We're increasing it, we're enlarging it, we're putting it together, we're joining it and uniting it. And then, because this word is in the Greek is translated as minister a lot, I also wanted to go ahead and define minister. And minister is to give, the verb form is to give, to afford, to supply, to attend and serve, to afford supplies, to give things needful. And then I was like, what does afford mean? Because the way that I think of afford is not, it didn't fit, and so I decided to do a definition of that. So afford is to yield or produce as fruit, profit, issues, or results. And I was like, oh my goodness. So when we are adding to our faith, virtue, and knowledge, and temperance and stuff, we are uniting our faith and increasing our faith, and these are the fruits, right? And the profit that comes from our faith. If you read further up, according as his divine power hath given unto us all things that pertain unto life and godliness through knowledge of him. So we have life, and then we also have godliness. And how are we going to have godliness if we don't add to our faith? And then James 2:17 through 26 talks about faith without works is dead. Faith without fruit is dead as well. If there is no fruit to your faith, you may want to re-examine yourself. And so then I also like to read the NLT as well. And so I came up here and read the NLT, New Living Translation. And in view of all this, make every effort to respond to God's promises. Supplement your faith with the generous provision of moral excellence, and moral excellence with knowledge, and so forth. So supplement is the word that the NLT translated as the word that the KJV adds. So of course, I went to my journal and I did a definition. A supply, in addition to anything by which its defects are supplied, and it is made more complete. Our faith is made more complete when we add to it. So then I did a definition of supply: to fill up as any deficiency happens, to furnish what is wanted, to afford or furnish a sufficient, I don't know how to say that word, so I defined it, and we'll get to that in a minute. To give, to bring, or furnish, to fill a vacant room, right? So your faith is your foundation. Like when you have a vacant room, you have your foundation, and then when you add things to the room, it becomes complete, right? It goes up to about being complete. And so then I defined this word. I cannot read that word. I'm dyslexic, but I can know what it means. So the state of being adequate to the end proposed, right? So to be adequate, right? And what is the end that this is proposing? Well, if you go up here, it says, in verse 8, if these things be in you and abound, they make you that you shall neither be barren nor unfruitful. So we are to be fruitful. If you come down to verse 10, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure, for if you do these things, you shall never fall. So what is the end proposed? That we will not fall and we will be fruitful. How can we make our calling and election sure? By adding to your faith, and faith without works is dead. And so that's what I put down here. And this is the importance of doing. All this came from doing a word study on the word add in the KJV. So this is why I always say, like, if you want to go deeper into your Bible study and you feel overwhelmed with all the things, just go deeper by starting to do word studies, because you can learn so much and go so much in depth in doing word studies. And word studies can be just like what I did here. The word add popped out to me for some reason, and I think that was God for sure. So